Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Ahmaduhu wa asta'inuhu wa astahdihi wa astaghfiruhu wa uminu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfaruhu wa ashhadu wa la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Arsalahu bil huda wa din al-haq liyudhhiruhu ala din kullihi wallahu karihal mushrikun. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is a servant and messenger. Allah sent him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. This way of life known as Islam rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. As it stated, today's program is called Guides to Better Living. So this is more like semi-inspirational and dealing with what our goals would be in the near future and where we're trying to go a little bit. So, I'll start with our case in Oakland. Our case in Oakland, our defense is the absurdity defense. That what the government is doing, and we got the whole stack, is absurd. Absurd. They've charged me, when I go back on the 6th of January, I go back to challenge some of they added extra charges. When I was arrested 4 times, they didn't charge me the first 3 times I was arrested in Oakland. I mean, this recently. And they charged me on the 4th time. And it had its own reasons. So what happened was, when I went back to court the last time, they had reinstated some other charges, the original charges where they didn't charge me. This is wonderful. This case in California is not what it looks like to the public. I've run across people even here that told me, well, we're glad to see you was in Oakland. We heard you was kicked out of Oakland. You know, it's fine. Okay, whatever the rumors are, if you want to find out about the rumors, check these videos. What we say right here is basically how we view life, how we view Oakland, how we view the movement. The absurdity defense. I won't spend much time on it, but we're saying that everything they've done in Oakland pertaining to us is absurd. We have the Masjid sitting there, right? It haven't been, there's no work going on. The Masjid is decomposing from lack of use. In fact, they turned off the last year. Today is the 29th. 1 year ago, December the 28th, they turned off the facilities there, you know, the water and all of that. So, all the time that I was gone up until July and August, the place wasn't being used. Not even for phony operations. When I got there, I just started right away to paint the masjid and do stuff. I had bought maybe several of those gallons, 5-gallon cans of like tar, emulsion, to roll on the roof. Because if you can see the pictures, you can see that some of the sheetrock had fallen down, and it needed the roof to be taken care of, which from my knowledge, wasn't no big deal. Believe it or not, the second time I was arrested was when we was going up and down to the roof, you know. And they arrested me for trespassing. That's why it's absurd. I've said 1,000 times. I have all the articles of incorporation. I have the deed to the property. I have the federal tax ID number. I have several other papers that show 100%. If I had one of those papers, that means that you don't have no right. It's absurd. Not only did I go to court last year, yeah, technically it was last year. No, it was actually it was April. I beat the case the 4th of April. No, the 19th of April. 2018. So technically it was a little over a year and a half ago. So all the charges I have now, I beat those charges in court. And the lawyer had placed several questions on the agenda. Where did Mr. Mukhtar get the right to call the police on the owner of the property? Where does he have any statement that says he had the right to do that? Where is there any statement that says he has ownership of the property? Where is any statement that gives him the right to do anything he said? Well, he said he had a board of directors meeting, but at the same time, he said that board of directors meeting was sometime, maybe December the 2nd. The same day we had a program at the Masjid. He said, how did the people get to the Masjid? He said, Imam Musa was having a program. He said, okay, and you had 6 board members there. Is that right? Yes, and we had a meeting. Later on she says, well, was Imam Musa there? He said, no. She didn't even follow up the question because the jury was looking like, you know, the beautiful thing about that case, I call it the fastest jury in the West. You know where in them old Westerns they had the fastest? This jury was out about 1/2 an hour. Finished. They didn't even, I don't believe they sat down. Outside they had cakes and pies and bananas and all that they was taking it so the jury would have a snack. They didn't touch that. They didn't even bring it in. It was still outside. The jury went in, then I left the courtroom and I was strolling all around, and this was about 45 minutes later. So I called the lawyer on her cell phone. I said, how's everything looking over there? They said, oh, you don't even have to come down. The jury then came back with the verdict. You know, they said not guilty. I didn't have to be there because it was a misdemeanor. And so she said, no, you've been found not guilty. Because I was going to think it was like any other jury. They might do it today or the next day. They might be out any amount of time. They was back in 1/2 an hour. I just went to get a cup of coffee and was headed back. This is too late. You're already not guilty. So it's absurd. Everything they're doing is, I can't tell you all the dumb stuff they're doing, but it's absolutely absurd. The arrest, now imagine the masjid sitting there, right there, all alone, no activity. Everybody else say, some of the people in Oakland say, man, he ought to at least do something with it. I said, no, that's beautiful. It's beautiful. I said, yeah, it's perfect. Why? I said, because it's a sign of what their goal was in Oakland all the time. We had a whole line of property, We had our school over here. We had the Masjid. All of that is closed. I said the purpose of Oakland was for the government. They looked at Oakland 10, 12 years ago, and it was too active, and it was all black, mixed with Arabs and everybody. We were a mixed community. But it was in the black neighborhood, and most of the kids, some of the teachers was Arabs, some of them were, it was a perfect mixture of Islamic unity. So at school, they would walk from the school down to the Masjid, which is only one block. All of the kids in hijab, it was orderly, and anybody passed at that time, they would see the kids would be going down for dua prayer, because they prayed dua prayer in the Masjid. And it was a normal ritual. Some of the activities we had even in the Masjid, some of the physical training for the young boys, we would have it in the Masjid. They do boxing and all that, you know. So anyway, that was too great of a sign of unity, of progress, of management and all of that. So, when they closed down the activities in Oakland, in East Oakland, they shifted all the activity in Oakland to North Oakland. North Oakland is the base of the immigrant community. The immigrant community, store owners and all of that, that community is thriving. That was the whole purpose. Take it from black people whose idea about America is we want it to be better, we want to improve it, we want to do all of that. We want to make it a good America. Immigrants don't care. They want their job. They want America to be like what they thought it was going to be. If it's anywhere close to that, it's fine. It's better than back home. So they wanted Islam. They shifted it to where the government, they know what they're doing. This is their strategic plan. And they did it. They did their strategic plan. But their strategic plan turned out to be so absurd that it's obvious and it's visible to everybody. That was our plan all along. We didn't challenge them. We never tried to stop them from doing. We pretended to try to stop them. Everything we did was pretend. As we did in all our meetings, we said we're drawing them in deep. That's what you draw them in deep. We would have petty counter-offensives, right? Counter-strategic offensive. But what our policy was always had what we call strategic depth. We even call it strategic brilliance, because they don't think that an African American, they don't think it, could think like that. They don't think we can outthink them. Well, sorry, we've already outthought you. We've already outthought you, and this is not the first time. This is, I would say, at least the third time on a big scale. But now we'll move to where we're. So that's done. We're going to go back, and our defense in court is the absurdity defense. In court, we'll be talking to the prosecutor. We say those people are absurd. Our defense is, here it is. Everything they did is insane and childish, and it's absurd. That's our defense. And we don't care whether we win or lose. That don't have nothing to do with it. You know why? This is something you would be praying for. A case that you have, that whether you win or lose, it don't make no difference. If I lose the case, they can give me a traffic ticket. Same thing, trespassing. I was on the property. They can't. Can you imagine? I imagine if they just went crazy, they could give me a $35 ticket, maybe. I don't think they can do that. When we approach the jury, we're talking to the jury to recruit the jury. And I'm going to tell them, I'm not here to defend any case. I'm here to show to you the absurdity of this system. And we're going to deal with the whole system. And this is our platform. We don't want them to throw any charges out. When I go back on the 6th, I'm going to say, hey man, in fact, I may not show up in court just so they can't throw the cases out. You know what I mean? Because I don't want them to. I want to go to court. I want to, as I told the brothers here, our defense is the absurdity defense, but we have a chance to tell the Oakland story. Our greatest part will be the opening statement and the closing statement. That's what we're going from. We'll have a few little witnesses here and there. It don't make no difference. We want to recruit. You know, the Bay Area is quite progressive. So whoever they get on the jury, they're going to be above average in consciousness about what the police do, what the society do, how it runs. You know, San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley, those were, even in the old days, those was the enlightened areas, the most enlightened area in the country. And not only the so-called hippie movement, the Black Panthers come out of Oakland, Mario Savio, the free speech movement that predates all of that come out of Berkeley. Mario Savio, student at UC Berkeley, 64, 63, they had the free speech movement in Berkeley. Okay, People's Park is in Berkeley. San Francisco, the Haight-Ashbury district, where they experimented on the new society, that's all in San Francisco. All of that, the Bay Area is a good place to tell this Oakland story. The Oakland story will encompass, we may start 50 years ago, and we may just stick with the last 30 or 40 years. But it's up to us. Because the opening statement is what we want to say. But our goal is recruitment. When we're telling you, we're not here to convince you of nothing. We're here to recruit you so that you can play a part in making a new world. That's what we're telling the jury. Okay. Basically, we will live in a society that teaches war and destruction. Can you imagine? That is absurd also. You got a society, suppose you were to observe, let's say, the black bears and the brown bears. They were always at war. And the bears used their best technology, the best science, and all their strongest and most beautiful cubs. They taught them how to destroy each other. So the black bears always had a plan. Was always at war with the brown bears. And the brown bears was always at war with the black bears. And they used every tree in the forest and every bear strategy they could use to conquer and to destroy each other. And they slaughtered each other by the, let's say thousands, but millions. Ever since there was black bears, and ever since there was brown bears, that war has been going on. Suppose you study human history. The human beings have been at war with themselves since they've been here. I mean, in ancient times, they had wars that had Attila the Hun was in one of the battles. He lost 300,000 people. 300,000 people. They was using old axes and dull swords. Good God Almighty. Can you imagine those battles? I mean, you hacked each other to death. If you even got a cut, they had some tonics and medicines, but it's probably going to get infected, you're going to die. I mean, if you got a cut. Or you got your arm cut off, swap. That's what they did. They hacked each other to death. Good. Can you imagine how brutal? And I mean, it's man-to-man combat. There you are, here I am. You can see and smell the guy you're killing, or the guy that's killing you. Good God Almighty. And they have been doing that since they've been here. That's insanity. That's no evolution. They haven't evolved. We call the human being Homo erectus technocratus. Homo erectus, he walks upright, right? Not on all fours, he's Homo erectus, like they say. He walks upright on two feet. Technocratus, he has technology. Of course, it's a Negro word. It didn't exist before Homo erectus technocratus. So this is what we call. And it's not the white man, this is all people have done this. Chinamans have slaughtered each other, Africans have slaughtered, enslaved each other, white folks slaughtered and enslaved each other, and anybody else they could conquer. Or that's absurd. In the early years, when people were in caves and didn't know nothing and were just wandering around, here's another tribe, they don't know them, they fight, they beat each other with a club. But now we have science, engineering, technology. And we haven't evolved one smidgen. We've evolved in reading, writing, history. We've evolved in technology. So now our technology is very efficient. You don't have to see the people. The people that kill you, they can be sniping at you. They can drop a bomb on you. They can hit you with a missile, and you never even see the people. They can have a drone just slaughter the whole village or the whole city. They can have an atomic bomb, can you imagine? Blow up everybody in